Let's start in Eugene. Number 2, Ohio State taking on number 3, Oregon. This will be a 6:30 p.m. kickoff on NBC. Ohio State currently a 3.5 point favorite. This is a matchup that everyone had circled in the preseason, Ted, and it's exactly what we hoped it would be. Both teams are coming in 5-0. But even though it does kind of feel like Oregon's found its footing a little bit in their last two, does it feel like these two 5-0s feel a little different?
Yes, it
Ohio
does.
State feels like a ball of
Juggernaut.
butcher knives 5-0.
Yep, they do. I was like, okay, they haven't really played anyone. Iowa's not great, but solid football team. Let's see how it looks, and not even a football game, really ever. Um, Will Howard has performed really well. He's been efficient for him. He's made some plays in the running game. uh, Distributing the football to the playmakers. They got some really good wideouts. They got a really good back. Um, and when I've seen Oregon, it just feels like it takes them a half to kind of get their bearings, and then they start to separate a little bit. I just don't think that they're going to be able to do that against Ohio State.
I'm with you. Part of me wonders if Ohio State can just show up and run it right down Oregon's face with Henderson and Judkins. I think that's very much a possibility, but for whatever reason, I kind of think Oregon's defensive line, who hasn't lived up to the hype so far this season, I kind of think they'll rise to the occasion and make things a little more difficult. Could be wrong, but that's just the sense I'm getting. And that means Will Howard's going to have to go out and make some plays. If only he had some weapons at the skill positions.
Right.
I mean, Jeremiah Smith is ridiculous, dude.
He's ridiculous.
Ibuka's fantastic. I mean, they got guys for days, dudes for days at the skill spots. But I think the key to this matchup is the other side of the ball. It's Oregon's offense against Ohio State's defense. Ohio State's defense may be the best defense in the country. But Oregon, they will undoubtedly be the best offense that they have seen. Dylan Gabriel's a veteran guy. I've been really impressed with Jordan James at the running back spot for Oregon. Are they going to be able to move the ball consistently and score a bunch of points? I, I don't think so. I like Ohio State to win the football game.
I do too. I kind of like them big,
How big are we talking?
whatever that means.
Double digits?
Double digits.
Number 2 versus number 3. You're on the road. You go win by double digits. I consider that big, even if you're favored in the game. That's big.
35-21, 38-21,
Mm.
something like that.
Phil Knight is not going to be happy if it's 38-21.
Well, throw money at it. Throw money at it, Phil.
He's trying, Ted.
I know.
But one thing, Dylan Gabriel, he can't turn the ball over like he has in the last 2 games.
No.
Especially, he can't turn the ball over down in critical areas of the field.
And he's going to be under some pressure too. Like
Yep.
some of those are just bad throws. Right? That
Yeah.
one down on the goal line was just a bad throw, He's going to be under some pressure with Ohio State's D line coming after him. Love Sawyer off the edge. Dude's an animal. Um, yeah, I could be wrong on this one. Haven't seen a whole lot of Ohio State, but from what I have seen, they look really dominant. And
Oh,
Oregon looks like maybe they're close to being dominant. Maybe they're going to get there. I just feel like these two teams are in different places right now.
Ryan Day has had a Michigan problem. He's been really good against pretty much everyone else. And you think about the Michigan teams they've lost to, especially the one last year, went on to win a national title. Think about the Georgia team they lost to a couple years ago in the playoff,
Mhm.
took them to the wire. That poor field goal kicker, that was such a bad kick. But you think about those rosters and the talent across the board. Is Oregon that type of team?
I think Oregon is a playoff team. I think Ohio State is a national title game type of team.
I think that's a great way of putting it.
Kind of how I view it.
Yeah. Now, Autzen
That
Stadium's
doesn't mean anything. I mean, this is
going to be an insane atmosphere. There's no doubt about it. But I think my only other hope of this game is that Oregon just wear something reasonable. Don't come out in all highlighter yellow, like, or maybe that is reasonable for them. I don't.
hey,
I kind
don't
of
let
just want a
Ohio
normal,
State off
like,
the hook.
yeah. What was that last week?
They
Oh,
wore crap last week. Don't let them off the hook. They've been known that give us a traditional game. This is legit stuff here. We're top five matchup. Let's put some respectable clothes on, okay?
you are Big Ten rivals, for goodness sake.
Act
Act
like it.
like it. Come on. Well, conference realignment. We've said a lot of negatives. This ain't one of them. This is going to be awesome.
Yep.
Both on Ohio State.
Both on Ohio State.
We're doubting you, Ducks. Let's see.
You
Let's see
are
what you got.
ducks.
I really, I hope Dylan Gabriel plays well.
I do too.
That was a
I'm sorry.
long pause, dude.
I was thinking in my head, is this a Heisman Trophy elimination game?
Yeah. I just, I may turn that into a social media clip. That was so funny. Uh,
You were waiting on me to go ahead and
I
throw
was just waiting on you to be like, yeah, me too, man. Hoping the best for DG. I was just trying to, it was a softball. I lobbed you
in
up a
my
softball.
mind was saying that. Yeah, yeah, I do too. But is this a Heisman Trophy elimination game? Maybe everyone's already eliminated anyways with Ginty. Maybe he's just going to win the whole thing.
Genty and Travis Hunter right now. That's how it feels for me. Another big SEC matchup this weekend. Number 9 Ole Miss goes to number 13 LSU. This game is 6:30 p.m. on ABC. Ole Miss is currently a 3.5 point road favorite.
Speaking of uniform game, another good one.
Could be gorgeous. Should be gorgeous. Will be gorgeous. I'm confident that both of these teams will wear something normal, but it feels like a massive game for Ole Miss. And I know that they got right against South Carolina, but they already have a loss in the SEC. And LSU is coming off a bye. That's going to be a well rested team. And you're starting to see a lot of reports that, hey, some of these key guys for Ole Miss are pretty banged up. So it feels like a bit of a dangerous spot for the Rebels because this Ole Miss defense, they have not seen anyone near the caliber of LSU's offense. Not even close this season. So I think we're going to find out just how good that Ole Miss defense is in this game.
I agree with you, and I may be off on this one, but I thought South Carolina was going to play better against Ole Miss than they did. That game got off to a horrible start for South Carolina, and it just got worse from there. But for whatever reason, I trust LSU a little bit more in this situation. You mentioned the bye week. Um, no, it feels like they stumbled against USC. They had that game won. How much different are we thinking about USC right now if they just finish off that football game against USC? We're probably like there's a whole different thought process around LSU. And I
Oh,
know you
yeah.
can't
And
do
then
that, but
Brian Kelly after the game's not banging on the table, all mad.
right. Right.
That's
And we
still
don't
one of my
want
favorite, still
we
one of my
need that.
favorite clips of the season.
Yeah, we don't want that to be eliminated. We've got to have that. But I don't know. I feel like LSU, the thought of what they are, I don't know necessarily lines up with where they've. I mean, I feel like they've come a long way offensively. Quarterback's playing well. I think LSU wins it. I'm kind of I'm kind of surprised they're a home dog.
I kind of feel the same way. Now, LSU has not solved their defensive problems. They're not good on defense. I think Ole Miss is going to move the ball and score points. But it's interesting. I've heard a couple people, different people say this. Like Harold Perkins went out for the year, blew his knee out. That sucks. Hated for the young man.
Yep.
But it kind of seems like their defense functions a little better without him on the field. So that's something to keep an eye on. Now, I do think that Ole Miss, once again, is going to be able to move the ball and score points. And I expect Jackson Dart to play at a high level in this game. But I do think that there's going to be a lot of attention on Garrett Nussbaum, a lot of attention on Jackson Dart, a lot of attention on Trey Harris and his status for this game, and then Kyron Lacey for LSU, who's a stud. But I think it could be simple as, hey, who runs the rock better? And it does feel like LSU's found a little something with Caden Durham as he's become more involved at the running back position. So
Yeah.
I, you have to assume the environment is going to affect the game as well. And the only thing I ask of the broadcast on this game, if ABC has a sense of humor at all, they will pop up a graphic of how many times Ole Miss guys lay on the damn field only to come back into the game like 2 plays later. I want a graphic. I want a sound effect, a rolling tally. Like I'm imagining like a loud bell where it goes from, oh, it's happened once to twice. Bing, and then it shows a 2 in a box.
Don't you think that
They need to be shamed for it, Ted. We have to publicly shame them to get them to stop doing the fake injury stuff. We got to do it, and the broadcast can do it.
I say that if the ball's been spotted or you line up in a formation and a guy goes down, the team is immediately charged with the timeout. Like you don't have to call one. Like it happens immediately. You're charged with the timeout. Like if a guy gets up and like makes it to, well, I know we don't huddle anymore, but makes it into the formation and then decides to go down, it should be an automatic timeout.
I like that. I like that a lot. Would it would it prevent people from doing this stuff? I think it
Yeah.
would.
Yeah. Or,
Some
I
people
mean,
may not like it. Like a guy is walking around the field, he catches a cramp. Hey, tough stuff, buddy. Time out.
yeah,
Don't cramp.
don't cramp, push together. I don't know. I don't
That's a
think
good
that
idea. I like it. That's one of the best ideas I've heard.
I don't think it's going to happen though. I mean, I
Why
don't know.
not? There it feels like Lane Kiffin is almost abusing the rule just to see how much they can get away with.
Well, everyone is. Everyone is. And it, it's college. Like I love college football. There's so much about college football to love, but there's so much about college football to hate. And like the Mickey Mouse stuff to me is like I could just line up a bunch of Mickey Mouse things about college football that I hate. Like
Nothing more than the punt formation.
I think that I've thrown it out before that it should be a rule that you have to huddle before the like whatever 2 minutes left in a half or 4 minutes, whatever it might be, to keep people from doing stupid things. Like that shouldn't I shouldn't have to do that. You shouldn't have to come up with rules to try and keep people from doing stupid things.
College football's the best, but lot of Mickey Mouse stuff. You're right. A lot of
Yeah.
shenanigans. A
Shenanigans.
lot of shenanigans. Are you more interested in Penn State at USC or Kansas State at Colorado? Penn State at USC has lost some sizzle.
Yeah.
Although it does feel like people are starting to very much turn against Lincoln Riley out there.
Out there, did you hear Joel Klatt talking about he said Alabama is like a Lincoln Riley Oklahoma team?
I did hear that.
I mean, I think he's jumping the gun a little bit on Alabama, but I thought it was hilarious that like Alabama gets beat by Vanderbilt and Lincoln Riley's catching strays all the way across the country at USC. You know what I'm saying? It's like, man. And I've said this for a long time. He's got a perception problem, really bad.
I think he's
But
got a Penn State problem this weekend.
he does, yeah. I to answer your question, I'm probably more interested in K State, Colorado, because I think Penn State's gonna handle USC fairly, not easily, but I think they're a better football team.
If Penn State goes to the Coliseum and smacks them around, the discourse is only going to get more interesting.
I know.
And hey, USC has struggled. They struggled to produce explosive plays in the passing game against Minnesota. They've turned it over too much in the last couple games. I'm not sure those trends don't continue against that Penn State defense.
Yeah. They're it's a this is a Big Ten football team, right? Penn State. And like if they only had a longer runway, I would take them to go out there and win this thing by maybe maybe three touchdowns. But since they had to drive to Harrisburg to fly out, I think they just win by 10 points, 14.
I'm also more interested in K State, Colorado.
It's a more
9:15.
volatile game, right? Like who
Oh,
knows what's going to happen?
9:15 p.m. kickoff, ESPN. Kansas State a 4-point road favorite. And I just have no idea what's going to happen in this game. And I have no idea what's going to happen at the top of the Big 12. And that's what makes this so interesting to me. Like K State could go there and blow them out, just run it all over them, dominate the game in the trenches, and walk out of there going, see ya, nerds. But how does Avery Johnson respond to going and playing in another big time road environment? It did not go well for him at BYU. That's probably the worst football game he's played in his entire life with how
Yeah,
talented that guy is.
I agree.
But I feel like when you got Shador Sanders and you got the best player on the field, and they will have the best player on the field, and Travis Hunter, it can always be interesting. All I want is to be hammering some celebratory beverages, watching this football game go back and forth and be very entertaining. That's all I want. Ted, is that so much to ask for?
It's not. The beauty of this football game is at halftime, you're going to be able to flip it over to the Boise State Hawaii game that starts at 10 o'clock and watch our boy for Boise State go for about 250 in the first half against Hawaii.
That'll be fun as well.
250 yards on 7 carries.
Who do you like, K State or Colorado?
I think Kansas State is the better all around football team. But like you said, Colorado's going to have the best player on the field. And I, I mean, I think that they're always going to be kind of within range with their offense to, throw it and get themselves back in the game. But give me Kansas State.
Give me the Buffs to cover and the Buffs to win outright. I've changed how I'm viewing that program after what they did to UCF.
Really?
That was impressive, brother. They carved them up. And Kansas State's defense has had its issues with giving up explosives this year. I don't know. It's going to be, I think they're going to have a big home field advantage. I love Chris Kleiman. Maybe they go in there and they walk out with a, 2 touchdown win. Very possible. But I don't know. It's just a weird year, man. Like Colorado beating Kansas State at home would not shock me in any way after some of the things we've seen this season. So I don't know. I just want it to be a good game. That's all I want.
I liked Kleiman whenever he coached them like they were K State.
Yeah, their offense, we have not really talked about that. Their offensive shift, I think, has been mistake is hard. That's a harsh word. I think their offensive shift, I don't understand why they did that.
Do you think it's for portal guys?
I think it's for Avery Johnson.
For Avery Johnson? Uh, he's a
I think.
he's got some talent, but is he talented enough to change like the foundation of a program?
Well, I think you would have been awesome in the stuff that they did. Now, remember, they lost their offense coordinator,
Yeah.
but the offensive line coach that had been there for years with the offense coordinator is the one calling plays.
Yeah. I don't know.
They run Levy's offense, from
Yeah.
what I can tell. Like Matt Wells brought a lot of what he learned from Jeff Levy at Oklahoma while he was here as an analyst. I don't know why Chris Kleiman did that. I miss watching them run power 16 times a game.
I know. I know. And I that's why I think it's
Look
like
at Wisconsin, man.
yeah,
You think they're happy running the dairy raid? That offense sucks.
it's
They
terrible.
suck on offense. They used to have one of the clearest identities on offense in all of college football. And now they just suck. Now they're like everyone else and they suck.
They used to be good at one thing. Like I don't even know that I haven't seen what they're doing, but they better not be doing crap that's going to ruin their offensive line pipeline to the NFL.
That is a concern amongst the fan base currently.
Oh my God.
Played with some guys at Wisconsin or that went to Wisconsin. Played with some guys in the NFL that went to Wisconsin. I've had that conversation with a couple of them. Like we need to get back to running the rock. We got to just produce O linemen.
Yep. I don't know. Wild.
Just run power and stretch, K State. You were so good at it. Just do it. What are we doing?
Quarterback power over and over. Pop pass. Come on. I mean, there has to be, isn't there another why am I drawing a blank? The endless train of wide
Lockett.
receivers. Lockett. Isn't there another Lockett coming?
There may be, I think there's one there.
I think there's one there. What are we doing? Power, 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 Lockett.
It's the formula.
Jeez.
What are we doing, K State? Get back to it.